I was a freshman and it was midterm season, which at Dartmouth apparently happens in like week 3. As you know, with 10-week terms, you blink and you're literally being tested. Math 8, calculus of functions of one and several variables. Not sure if any of you guys are in that class right now. It was my first graded assignment at Dartmouth. I opened Canvas and there it was, the little dot that showed where I stood in comparison with the rest of the class. And yes, you guessed it, my dot was at the far left of the bar. I wasn't at the top, wasn't in the middle, but at the very bottom. And if you're a student, you probably know that at Dartmouth, every transcript records the number of times that you score above median, at median, or below median in a class. And that moment, seeing myself below median, really stuck with me. Looking back, I realized that I wasn't just below median in my grades, but also in my confidence and sense of belonging here. Coming from Jamaica, Dartmouth was like a whole different world, and the first thing I did when I got on campus wasn't to explore or try to figure out what clubs I would join. It was to find a job because I knew it would cost me to be here. As a freshman navigating those rigorous math prerequisites for engineering, I realized very quickly that these numbers, these medians, they weighed way more heavily on students from less privileged backgrounds. Unlike many of my peers, I did not do AP math in high school, and in fact, coming from the Caribbean, had no idea what AP even stood for. So seeing that median, it didn't just sting, but it really discouraged me. Over time, I started to move towards the median, not just in my grades, but also my confidence. I was attending office hours more, asking more questions in class, and I even took ski lessons and hated every freezing minute of it, guys. Like, no, 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 no. But it reminded me that I belonged here too. And eventually, I found myself above the median, not just on paper, but with a very strong sense of belonging. And with that came purpose. I took advantage of Dartmouth's many research opportunities, including the STAMP scholarship, to study the retention of underrepresented students in engineering. My focus was on how assessment practices, like the publishing of medians, can often unintentionally harm the very students they're meant to measure fairly. After Dartmouth, I continued this work through the Lewin Fellowship, helping high-achieving, low-income Caribbean students secure full rights to study abroad. I realized it was super important to teach my students how they could use assessment to their advantage. Just like those medians on my transcript, standardized tests like SATs and other metrics can feel intimidating, especially if you don't understand them. During that year, Hurricane Beryl hit Jamaica, and ironically, if you've been watching the news, another hurricane is about to hit Jamaica. Some of my students lost their homes, and entire family incomes disappeared as farmlands were destroyed. But yet still, my students pushed through. They got their applications in, despite all the trauma around them. By the end of the application cycle, they had secured over $3 million in scholarships for college. And yeah, and no SAT score, no median grade, no GPA can capture that. That determination, that resilience, the potential that each one of them have, that seeing their success was the most profound affirmation of why this work matters. And fast forward to 1 year post-graduation, I'm in my first big girl job or whatever at Joby Aviation. And Joby is a pretty cool company. We make electric air taxis. It was my third day, and I step into a meeting room. I'm the youngest, the only woman, and the only person of color, so I'm already starting to feel a little below median. In the pre-meeting chit-chat, one of the presenters asks, "Who here is a pilot? I'd like to take account for the slides." I look around the room, and I'm the only person that doesn't have her hand raised. Talking to my colleagues afterwards, I realized that a lot of them just grew up around planes. Like, their great-grandfathers flew, and their grandfathers flew, and their dads flew. Like, it was just something that they did. And here I am yet again, below median. not just in aviation experience, but in feeling like I belong at Joby. The difference, though, this time is I've been here before and I know what it feels like. And just like that freshman midterm at Dartmouth, I'll turn it into drive to find a way to make impact, to make aviation more accessible to those from less privileged backgrounds. I just started pilot private ground school this past Wednesday, so I'm back in the classroom and ready to learn.